Morning,
What's up, man?
everybody. How you doing, sir? How you doing, handsome?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Hey, thanks for jumping on with me today. Those that don't know, obviously I have Ryan Miracle with me with Agent Launch and Ruoff Mortgage. And we're excited because Ryan came to me, I don't know, a month ago, maybe month and a
All
half
right.
ago. And with an idea of putting together a localized in-person panel event. And those that know me, those that are around me, you guys know that I'm all for as many events and learning opportunities that we can get as a real estate agent, and not even being a real estate agent, but just getting small business owners together to talk about the pain points and the struggles and the things that are going on around them. And then how do you keep, navigating and pivoting and moving your business to where you're always consistently successful. So, Ryan, if you want to do a quick little introduction of the event and what you're putting on, that'd be great.
Yeah, and once again, I think you nailed that spot on as far as why this topic is important. So, what's up, everybody? It's Ryan Miracle, Ruoff Mortgage, founder of Agent Launch, agent mentorship program here in Columbus, Ohio. And John, thank you for having me on, bud. So Agent Launch has a bunch of different ways that agents can interact with each other, with the brand, to try to help you guys become the agent that you wanted to be. So one of the things that have come out of the industry, out of the news cycle here in the last, this has been brewing for a long time, but the last 6 months is all the lawsuits that are coming on. And like you mentioned this morning in the Clubhouse call, there's new lawsuits coming in every single day. So what the hell does that mean for agents? How are they going to adapt and basically be able to continue providing for their family and taking care of their clients the way that they always had? So, like, what is this all going to end up turning into? So, what I wanted to do, I was actually talking to Josh Uminski a couple weeks ago, and he said there's not enough people talking about this topic, so we really need to get our hands dirty and figure out how we're going to help each other get through to where it's going to be easy again. It will get easy again, but just we wanted to get people in the room. John was gracious enough to be on the panel, and we brought in two other heavy hitters, Dana Gentry and Larry Schottenstein, that are going to come in and then spit some serious game, because you guys are on the front lines of what's going on, because you have your communities that you are trying to protect too. So it's not just yourself, you're looking out for other agents as well. So yeah, that's exactly why we're putting on this event, is to try to help agents solidify their positioning in the market.
And it's one of the things that I talk about a lot, and personally experienced in my career is the ability of an agent to be willing to adapt
Yeah.
and to pivot their business and their model. When our real estate industry changes, and that's kind of what we're going through right now, right? Like,
Mhm.
rates went up last year, right? Agents had to think about doing things a little bit differently, right? Prospecting might be a little bit harder. Clientele might be changing a little bit. And, it's, we were always told the strongest survive. It's not the strongest that survive. It's the ones that adapt the most to the surroundings that survive, right? And
Exactly.
when I got into the business, we did a lot of REOs, short sales, foreclosures, working with investors. All of that was the business at the time. And a
Mhm.
lot of agents had to pivot to that type of business in order to survive that time. And then for me personally, it was, hey, we're going to do this thing called internet leads. And we pivoted to the internet leads. And then as our REO business started to dry up, we are now buy side internet lead heavy type real estate agent. And that's what we adapted to. And we're just going through one of those things right now, one of those phases right now. And that's why I'm excited about this topic, because, everything that's going on in real estate's not stopping, right? Like,
Mm-mm.
there's no fear of sales going to zero, right? That's not the conversation, and that's not the fear, right? But it's the conversation of, what do you need to be doing as a LO? What do you need to be doing as a real estate agent? What do you need to be doing as a title company? What do you need to be doing as a home warranty rep, right? In today's market and going into next year. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And honestly, just sitting here thinking about what you're saying, one of the things that really stood out to me is the real estate industry. So I've been doing this since '05. So elder millennial, but I'm kind of an OG when it comes to tenure in the real estate. It hasn't been until like COVID hit to where the industry has had to evolve pretty much like every 6 months. It's turned into something else and we've had to readapt again. I think that's why a lot of us are feeling tired. But like before COVID, yeah, we have our changes, but it was so gradual and so slow that everyone was able to adapt to it. I mean, prior to COVID, the biggest change was all the laws that came after 2008 and all the lending laws. But for the most part, the real estate industry is lagging behind other industries when it comes to try to adapt to what's going on. So yeah, this is a very relevant topic. And once again, everyone's feeling tired and overwhelmed, but this is still needs to be on everyone's radar for sure. So
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
here's the thing. I just dropped the link to the event. It's next Wednesday, 2:30 to 4.
Mhm.
It's in person, right? We still got some tickets, available. It is filling up. We obviously have a capacity that, we can't go over. So if you guys have not grabbed a ticket yet, definitely grab a ticket, right? Because again, this is a real conversation, something that I bring up all the time with agents. And it's really understanding truly what is your value proposition to the client.
Mhm.
And when you can get to that point and be able to articulate it in a way to justify your worth, nothing else matters, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, assuming that we have someone who has been in Antarctica for the last 6 months, what are we talking about when it comes to the lawsuits? Give us the fifth grade version of what's going on.
It's around the idea that there may have been, I'll do air quote, fixed commission prices. But really, like for me, it's the explanation of to the consumer of how commissions work, in my
Yep.
opinion, right? And there is a lack of that right now in the industry, in my opinion, right? And the one thing about the lawsuits is like once one happens, they all
Oh,
follow, right? And to me, it doesn't matter as a real estate agent. It doesn't even matter what the outcome is. Like at this point, it is what it is, and you have to be willing to adapt, right? You have to change some things. You have to change your conversations, right? You have to make sure that when a client asks you about your fees and what you charge, you have to be able to communicate in a way and articulate in a way to justify whatever that answer is for you, right? And you're probably going to have to get good at determining who are your people and who are not your people, right? Because I believe that I can't help everyone, right? My value proposition does not work for everyone. And
mhm.
I have to be okay as an agent with that, right? But I have to be able to explain the nuances of what not only the process of real estate's like, but here's all of the fees and things associated with it, and here's how you here's how I can explain it to a client in a simplified way that they truly understand and that they are comfortable and confident in the decision of working with you. And I think that's been the thing, right? Like agents not explaining in a way that a consumer is comfortable and confident with how things work.
So, is that something that has been building for some time? I mean, take the lawsuits out of it. Is this something that I know your opinion on, it, but I'm asking anyway. Is this something that agents have been lacking and loan officers have been lacking um, for decades now? That they don't have a clearly defined value proposition, and they really are taking anyone who raises their hand as a client.
I think what happened, and I only got in 2011, right?
Okay.
So before that is just perspective of people that got in before me. I think technology and the internet leveled the playing field of service.
Fair.
Okay, so before that, right, and this is probably in your world as well, like online applications, doing all of a full loan online without, really talking to someone. And like,
Mhm.
those things disrupt what we do, which also levels out the value that one potentially brings to the table, right? Speed. Look at Amazon, right? It's speed and convenience, you know? Um, and I think that's where the struggle has been, is with technology and with the internet. It's leveled out some of that playing field, that barrier of having to articulate your value, because
Mhm.
it did become a who's available to show me a home type environment, especially if you're working with buyers. And
Mhm.
like, the stats are crazy behind it, right? Like, I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but it's a high percentage. If you meet with that buyer and you're the only one to meet with that buyer, and you're the first one to meet with that buyer, they probably go with you. Like,
Oh, 100%.
buyers don't interview, right? But it's funny because sellers interview. So, I think that's going to be some of the challenge, or that's where the drop off has been, since technology has improved, since the internet has come around, since buyer leads and lead generation, right? Portals and all that stuff has come into place. Is, you know, are you just a door opener, or are you a door opener who then can pivot that moment, that relationship right then and there, to pivot to doing a consultation, to where that client understands that you are the expert advisor when it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate. I
100%.
think that's where I think that's where our biggest challenge will be for real estate agents moving forward, with everything that's going on right now in our industry.
So, all right. So, Rocket Mortgage came on and completely revolutionized people's expectation of what mortgage should be. And then, so you really like, I've had to think about this a lot and try to articulate it to the other LOs that I work with. But like, so yeah, on one end of the spectrum, you have like Rocket Mortgage. On the other end of the spectrum, you have like small mom and pop credit unions, like super tiny, maybe 10 employees, that kind of thing. So, what is it that Rocket Mortgage does really well? What is it that the credit unions do really well? What is it that Rocket Mortgage sucks at? What is it that these small credit unions suck at? So, you can't live on the hyper efficiency, low cost Rocket Mortgage thing as an individual real estate agent. And you're probably not going to be able to have enough scale if you are a small mom and pop solo agent. But where there is a nice little sweet spot is, I've heard you say this earlier this week, is like the solo agent that can build and ingrain themselves with their ideal client. That's not something that Zillow or mega brokerage, no matter what their tech stack is, they can't compete with that emotional relationship. And then the smaller agents, they can't compete with the technology. So you're going to have to see like this hybrid agent, and I'm sure someone else has coined that term, but a hybrid agent who has the deep emotional connection with their clients and also is hyper efficient with their own tech stack. Now, you don't need to spend millions of dollars to do it, but there is a nice little sweet spot. And I think we're seeing this commission lawsuit kind of separate the field of people who are going to have no value prop and, like you said, are just door openers and get paid a fee, versus agents who are worth every damn penny of 3% to get a house across the finish line, buy side or sell side. So I think
Yeah,
we're going to see a delineation in the field, LO and agent, here soon.
yeah, but with that, right? Like, an agent has to be comfortable with understanding who sees the value that they're going to bring to the table and who doesn't,
Yes.
right? I just had this conversation with one of my agents yesterday, and it's like, um, a lead came in, right? Showed a home. The conversation felt like they were just people that like to call and use the listing agents to show the home. And the thing I said to him was, hey, that's perfectly fine. They're probably not your people, right? Like, and you have to be okay with that. Like,
Yep.
I always tell people this. There's people out there that see value in what a store like Walmart brings to the table, and there's people that see value with a store like Louis Vuitton, right?
Yep.
Like, or there's value in driving $100,000 Mercedes, and there's value driving a $10,000 used car. And the person that drives the $10,000 used car is not going to see the value of the Mercedes, and vice versa. And what you have to be good at, and this is where agents struggle, and that's because we don't sell enough homes, right? The average, sold properties per agent so low that agents are willing to work with anyone and everyone because they need to, right? They haven't put themselves in a position to be able to have a choice of who they work with. And that's where some of that struggle is going to be. As an agent, as an LO, as a small business owner, you got to be busting your butt to put yourself in a position to where you get to decide who you work with, and not the other way around, where the client is dictating whether or not something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't have said that better. So once again, you hear people talking about ideal client. You hear them talking about how, like you said, how to attract a specific type of person. But like, what do you think that the first step is for an agent who is at ground zero, as at base camp right now? What would be the first right move for them to start figuring that out of who they need to attract versus chasing everybody?
I mean, the first right move is you have to be comfortable in your own skin of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the self-awareness, right, of you and what you're going to bring to the table. You have to be okay with that. The second thing is you have to, I created this thing called the real estate launch, and within the real estate launch, there is there's the value advantage, right? And that's value proposition.
Okay.
Also, those agents that are on a team, talking about the advantage of being on a team, and obviously all of us are at a brokerage. What is the value of your brokerage that a client gets? So I would start there at the basic level, right? Like, who am I and what can I bring to the table? What brokerage am I at and what are they offering to my clients that I can bring to the table? And then within the value advantage, it's what value can I bring to a client before they ever decide to work with me, during the process while they're working with me, after closing, right? What's some value that I can bring to them after closing?
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth thing is, and I mentioned this today, what's the value that my partnerships bring to the table? My LO, my title company, my home warranty rep, my insurance company, my personal wealth advisors, my estate attorneys, right? My home inspectors, my contractors. All of those people have a value proposition that you can lean into as a real estate agent and make it yours. Pass through value, right? So you start there, but you have to be okay with this idea that you're not going to be able to serve and help everyone.
So what you said there is just so powerful, and the way you said it was very eloquent. Like, you're not, let's reframe value proposition, because once again, it's the same kind of squishy term, like you have to build a brand. What the hell is a brand? So let's reframe the idea of value to what problems, specific problems, are you solving for the client before, during, and after? And if you ask who you think your ideal client is, if you ask that person what they're struggling with, they will tell you. And then if you can figure out how to solve that problem, you're going to have them coming to you because they can't get that anywhere else, because you have solved their problem so specifically, so well, that there's no other option. So you've just effectively eliminated the 1,000 other agents that you're competing against for that client, because that Joe Smith feels like you're talking directly to them, solving their problems versus talking to the masses. So
Yep.
Very well said, sir.
Yeah, I mean, like, someone that's a renter right now has a different set of problems than someone that owns a home that's looking to sell and buy. So, are you taking time every day, every week, every month to make sure that you're answering those pain points or solving for those pain points that those each individual section of real estate client, that you can help and serve, right? Like, a pain point of a renter may be that they don't have a yard. It may be that they don't have a garage. It may be, we're going into winter right now. It may be that they're tired of scraping snow off the car. It could be that, like, I have a friend right now, neighbor smokes weed in the apartment. This is a real pain point, right? Like, you don't control who moves in next to you.
Fair.
Right? So, like, it's a pain point for them to where now they're like, hey, How do I get pre-approved? How can I look into buying something, right? Because the neighbor's smoking weed and it's coming into her spot. You know what I mean? Like, but so as an agent, right, what's the conversations and what's the message that you're putting out?
Totally.
And most people move away from pain, right, instead of towards pleasure. So if we talk about the pain and we can solve for the pain, right, then it's just a matter of time.
Right. I agree. So that's on like an individual basis. So like you touched on something that I think we could develop a little bit deeper as far as the value. And once again, this is a very deep conversation. So make sure that if you're reaching out to John, if you have questions as an agent on how to develop this value proposition for yourself, because this is going to be the separator right here. So like you mentioned a buyer, or let's go sellers, because everyone's kind of heavy on sellers right now. So does my grandmother, who's selling her house for the last time and is moving in with my parents, does she have the same needs and concerns as someone who is selling their house for the first time?
No.
So
there's
like
some of the same principles as far as how we navigate that transaction,
right.
but the goals are different.
Yeah, their triggers are different.
The goals of selling that house are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what's the next phase of life for those individual people? Like, what are they truly trying to accomplish? Are they needing to move into assisted living? Right? Are there things that you need to do 5 years prior to that in order to make sure it's not deeded in their name? There's a lot of different things. And this is where, as a real estate professional, you identify how you want to go and build your business first, business pillar. Then once you figure out how you want to build your business, then you got to go and find the people that can help you solve those people's problems.
Absolutely.
And articulate that value. And then you lean in on that. Most successful real estate agents, individual agents, or most successful teams, or most successful companies, they don't try to do it all. They focus on the 2 to 3, maybe 4 areas that they are the best in the world at, and they lean in on it. Right. They go narrow with those things, and I think a lot of times people feel like they have to try everything and do everything in order to get the most amount of business possible. And that's not the case. Everyone right now could go to their preferred lender and ask for a referral once a quarter. I just got you 4 deals a year.
4 extra. And for some agents, that would be a game changer.
Right. I mean, I would take 4 extra deals.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you do a lot of business, I'd still take 4 extra deals.
Absolutely. So I don't mean to shout her out, but like I'm going to throw this out there. And if you're not in the Columbus market, you may not recognize the name, but like, so as far as downsizing here in Columbus, who is the agent who is the pinnacle of that marketplace?
Yeah, Kathy Cairo.
Exactly. And do you think that she's hurting for business?
No, I know she's not.
Yeah. So she has identified her ideal client. Not that she says that she won't work with a first-time home buyer, but she's attracting who she wants. And then if she has 100 people that are coming to her and one of them is a jerk, can she tell them to go fly a kite?
Sure.
Because she doesn't have that scarcity mindset. So like you said, that's the power of attracting just one type of person and just solving their problems and having that just amazing value proposition.
Yeah. So, look, if you guys are looking for more information, I dropped the link to the event next Wednesday. We still have some spots left. What I like about this panel that you put together is we have people that are, for me personally, people that are the next step above me. So like for me going to this panel and being on the panel, I'm going to be taking mental notes and learning from Larry and from, right? Like, that's what I'm excited about. Like, so you're going to have a real estate agent standpoint, Larry's broker owner, Dana owns franchises, right? All of those things. And so that's going to be the great mix of this conversation next week. So make sure you guys grab a ticket. The time is 2:30 to 4. I think we're doing a happy hour afterwards. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we are going to steer down the street. And then hopefully be able to capture a lot of people that were there, so that way they can mingle with the panelists. So looking at the list of people that are coming, it's not a bunch of know nothing agents that are going to be in the audience. So there's going to be the panel, which is John, you're on it. You're a bunch of heavy hitters, but at the same time, the people that are in the room with you are no slouches either. So the amount of traction you can gain to fix this problem for yourself with the lawsuits is going to be great. And once again, I'm coming in this as a student. I can ask questions and be the dancing monkey on stage, but I'm looking forward to learning a lot while I'm asking these questions. So thank you for your grace and being willing to do it. And Larry and Dana, if you're watching this as well, thank you. No, but this is going to be good. And hopefully we're able to be that springboard for agents to be able to knock it out of the park in 24 and keep in the industry.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it's just erasing the fear. Like,
yeah.
As agents, you should not be scared, right? Like, there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of negative news and all, but you should not be afraid, right? There should be no fear. Real estate's not stopping. Nope. It's just looking at the business maybe differently than how you've been doing it in the past. And if you're brand new, I personally think you're probably getting in at a very good time, because I always think about going, when I got in 2011, having to talk to people that just came out of bankruptcy, or having to talk to people that just, had a foreclosure or a short sale, and really, getting them to the point of believing in home ownership again, especially after they went through a very traumatizing experience and losing their home or losing their job. And then they lost their home and not having a real clear direction on how to go with real estate and housing. I was fortunate, and I didn't realize this back then, right? But I was fortunate to get in at that time. And I think now, right, that the people that are getting into the business last year, this year, thinking about getting into the business, maybe you've been in the business 2 years ago, like, this is going to be a very good time for you if you're willing to adapt, if you're willing to look at your business differently, and if you're willing to take it to the next level and be a true professional, you will be just fine. And that's what this event's about, right? Like, it doesn't matter what's going on around us. Like, it is what it is. That's a common phrase, but it is what it is, right? Like, we can't control any of that stuff. So I'm excited for it. Make sure you guys grab a ticket. Ryan, any final thoughts?
No, once again, I don't think that I could say anything additional to what you've already just said. I lead with faith a lot in my life. And once again, I kind of wax and wane on how close I am to my creator. But like, one of the things that I've kind of come across here recently is it's not like, looking back on like your career, my career, any of our career, we always kind of measured as like between the peaks. So like the tops of our experience is kind of how we measure our life. And those are the stories. But like, when you think about it, like you just said, it's not the peaks, it's the valleys, those low points that put our back against the wall, like what we're going through right now, that really help define who you're going to be. So I'm excited for what's going on right now, because this is, like you said the other week, this is separation season. This is going to be the thing that is going to create that next wave of amazing agents that are able to adapt and serve at such a deep level. But you got to get through this first. You have to adapt. And I think this is just another thing for us to adapt to, which is great, because that's going to be another separator between you and in the field.
Yep. Snag those tickets. We hope to see you there next Wednesday at 2:30. There's going to be a wealth of knowledge and information in that room, and you have the ability to use it to your advantage.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your grace. Excited to see you. And if anyone has any questions, just drop a comment, and John and I will be kind of hovering over those to help where we can.
Awesome. Ryan, thanks so much. And I'll talk to you here soon.
Appreciate you, sir.
All right. See ya.
Bye.